Hey everybody, it's Will Terry here, and I'm going to give you a lesson on how to build an electronic roll sheet utilizing Microsoft Forms. I'm in the Microsoft Office 365 suite right now. I'm just going to click on Forms. It's going to load all the forms that I've created, and I'm going to create a new form. So go ahead and click on New Form. Now, in order to create an electronic roll sheet that's going to be any good, you really need to get some basic information from your students. Obviously, name would be wonderful. If your students have an ID number, it would be great to utilize that. Also, as I think that these forms are best if you can use them multiple times and not have to make new ones. So I suggest creating a section for a class-specific question. I'll speak more about that in just a moment. So first thing you're going to want to do is title your form. So I will just say roll for class X. If you'd like to enter a description, that's up to you. I'll just put daily roll. All right, and first thing we're going to want to do is add our first question. Now, it gives you options if you'd like a multiple choice question, a text question, or rating. We're basically going to be using text for all of these. So first we're going to do text. One of the main reasons I like using Microsoft Forms to do the role is that it allows you to export any data that you take in an Excel document. So I highly recommend when creating questions for the Excel document, you think in an Excel mindset. So my first question is going to be last name, so that when sorting this information, you can sort by last name. Next, I'm going to add another question, which I'm wondering if you'll be able to figure out will be first name. All right, once you've created the question, you can decide if it's a short answer question or if you'd like it to be a long answer question. And first and last names, you're not really going to have a long answer, but you might want a long answer for your daily specific question. Once again, that's going to be up to you. But next, as I said, since this is going to be organizing in an Excel document, it would be good to have your student ID number if your students have ID numbers. If they don't have ID numbers, then any other way that you would like to organize your students, you can have that as a third question. And the final question, as I said, is your day-specific question. So basically, I think it's best to just leave it here as a day-specific question and not put a question in here, because if you do that, then every day or every week you'd have to come in and change the question. But if you just say day-specific question and then in class ask the students to answer whatever the question may be, like a good easy question would be, what color is the shirt of the instructor today? Then they would write the answer and you would know if they were in class. You might be asking, well, can't their friends just text them the answer to the day's specific question and they can do an electronic roll from outside of the class? That is something that I will show you how to get around in just a moment. Once again, this is an electronic roll form that we are creating in Microsoft Forms, and basically, this is best used for lecture hall situations or large classroom situations where you're not going to be able to see everyone in the classroom. You can use it for smaller classroom situations if you just want a way to keep track of folks, but I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But all right, so we've created our 4 questions. So as I said, they're simple questions: last name, first name, ID number, daily specific question. All right, now that the form has been created, we need to be able to share it with all of our students. You're going to go over into the upper right-hand corner and you will see the share button. All you have to do is click on that share button and it'll bring down options. First option is only people in my organization can respond. The other option is anyone with the link can respond. You're going to want the anyone with the link can respond option. That way you can give the link to your students and anyone who has that link can respond. Now, what you do from here is you would copy the link and you would share it with your students via email or on the first day of class so they can take a photo of it, however you'd like to do. What I'm going to do right now is show you guys what it's going to look like on the student side. So I've copied the link. I'm going to open an incognito window and paste the link. So now this is what your students will see. It's a roll for class X, it's your daily roll, and then it'll ask for information. So last name, I'm going to use my last name, first name, and then student ID number. I happen to be wearing a blue shirt today, so let's go with that question I asked earlier of what color shirt is the instructor wearing, and then I will hit submit. It will let you know that your response has been submitted. Now let me show you the coolest part about the whole form situation. So I'll go back to my Microsoft Forms page, and as you see, it says I have one response. That response is from me. It breaks down all the answers from the response. Obviously, if you have multiple responses, it'll say the numbers, and then you won't be able to see every response. You'll have to click on View Results, and it will ask you which number result would you like to see, which is very cool. But my favorite thing to do is to utilize it as an Excel document. So you can say open in Excel. So I've opened in Excel. You can see down here it automatically downloads an Excel form with the answers. I'm going to click on it, open up the Excel form. Let me close the Excel I already had open. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. So as you can see here, it brings up the Excel document and it has my questions in order. But the thing that I think is the greatest thing about this, and it's wonderful for roll, and as I said, is a way to get, one of the ways to get around your students sharing the daily answer to with their friends via text or whatnot, is there is a timestamp for when this this form was started and when it was ended. So you can basically, once class begins, before giving them that daily specific question, you can tell them, you know, you have 3 minutes to fill out this simple form, and then you can allow them to fill it out. Or there's another option that I will go into next, which is a little more complicated, that you'd have to update from week to week, but it's another great option. But first we're going to go with this. So like I said, you can let them know what time they're allotted, and you will get the timestamp and you'll get the answers: last name, first name, student ID number, and daily specific question. Obviously I'm the only person who has answered, but if you were to have several hundred people answer, you can always sort these answers in the Excel document. So I think that's just a wonderful way to go. Now, as I was saying, back to being able, just every Excel document I have is just opening right now. Let me just click here. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so back to another great way to limit the responses and control the responses is going to be, if you go to these 3 dots in the top here in Microsoft Form and go under Settings. Settings will give you a couple of questions. You know, who can fill out the form? Anyone who has a link, we've already dealt with that. But the options for responses, right here we have the option to have a start date and a start time for the responses, and an end date and an end time for the responses. So you can set whatever date you would like, start and end, and time for the responses. So as I said, it's a little more complicated to control the environment, but you can let the students know, the responses are open right now for a roll. Please answer, and it will close very shortly. That way, hopefully, it will stop any bad eggs from sharing roll information with their friends. And realistically speaking, you're not really trying to police everything so completely, but it's just a good way to control the situation. You set the time up and go from there. Let me show you how that works. So it is it's actually showing a good time, because right now it's around 2:45 on 12/5, and that meaning that it's going to be 15 minutes before 3 o'clock. So if we set it up like this, and then I click on share and get a copy of the link, I'm going to open another incognito window, and I'll show you what happens since it is not time for this particular form to be opened. So as you can see, this form is currently not accepting responses. So like I said, it's a little more complicated because you're going to have to go in here into your Microsoft Forms every day or every week to change the time if you want to go this route, but it does give you some more control. So there you have it. That is a way to create a digital roll sheet using Microsoft Forms. As I stated, you can do the same, or did I state? I'm not quite sure, but you can do the same thing in Google Forms. The reason that I prefer Microsoft Forms over Google Forms is I've found that there are compatibility issues with Google Forms. If someone does not have a Google email address, they are not able to use the Google Forms sometimes, in my personal experience. If you are in a classroom environment where you know all of your students have a Google account, like if you run your class through Google Classrooms, then of course you can use a Google Forms and do the exact same thing. Their buttons are in different places, and maybe I could always create a video on that at a later date as well. But it's Google Forms also creates an Excel type document. I can't remember what, I think Google calls it a Google spreadsheet, and that allows you to see the information as well. But like I said, I prefer Microsoft Forms because I've never had compatibility issues. It's a quick form, and yeah, I just really prefer it. So I hope that this particular tutorial has been enlightening, and that you learned a little something about how to create a quick, easy roll sheet that timestamps when everyone fills it out, and you can reuse it. That's another thing, that Excel document that I created, it'll just keep the roll until the end of time. So you'll get, today's roll and tomorrow's roll, and it'll just keep adding it on the timestamp. So however you want to sort it. If you want to sort it by last name, you can see how many days a student came in. If you want to see how many students you had on a particular day, you can just sort it by date, and down the line. So I hope this tutorial has been enlightening, and have a wonderful day.